Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to talk about the equipment and gearing system in Lost Sword. I'll explain how it works, what stats and traits you should look for, and how to get the best gear for your characters. Also specialties and how to efficiently reroll for the perfect builds and more. So without further ado, let's fix your builds. In Lost Sword, there are 4 types of equipment you can put in your characters: weapons, armor, treasure, and runes. And like most RPGs, equipment comes in different rarities: common, heroic, and legendary, and so on. Your typical green, blue, purple, and gold stuff. So basically, the higher the rarity, the better the stats you get in general. Each piece of gear comes with 2 to 4 main stats, usually fixed based on the gear type. You can upgrade gear up to level 10, increasing these stats significantly. In other +7 and +10, you unlock 2 additional main stats, enhancing its overall scaling. Additionally, gear has 3 to 4 special stats, essentially your substats, that are completely random in both type and value. These substats can roll anywhere from low to high, making a huge difference in the gear's effectiveness. In many cases, it's these special stats that determine whether a piece of gear is exceptional or mediocre. Now, the unique part about Lost Sword, every piece of gear has its own level. You'll see numbers like 120, 160 on equipment. This is not something you can change. Gears come with a fixed level. You cannot increase or decrease them. Higher level gear usually mean better stats, so always look for the higher level equipment. Gears also have skills. These abilities can massively impact your character's performance. For example, increase your attack for a set duration, reduce an enemy's defense, increasing the number of targets, recover HP when killing an enemy, and so on. And because of this, picking the right gear for the right character is super important. For example, tanks or frontline units should have vitality 1 or 2. These restores HP when killing an enemy, keeping them alive longer and prevent the enemies from getting to your back rows. Characters like Anissa, Ran, or Lua need dual blade weapon because not only it provides high stats, skill adds pseudo AoE by increasing the number of targets per hit by 3. This is insane for clearing groups of enemies, so always match gear skills to your character's role and playstyle. Now, how to get and farm gear. In Lost Sword, gear comes in 2 major types: farmable gear, which is easily obtainable in a way. You can farm this type of gear through different activities like Stonehenge runs, story modes, exploration treasure rewards, and labyrinth. Among these, dragon and abyss gear are usually the best in this category, but they are super rare or time gated, making them more valuable than the regular farmable equipment. So always do your boss raids and aim for higher ranks possible. The better you perform, the better your rewards, including key materials to craft this type of gear. They are super strong and you should be aiming to craft at least 1 piece every week to stay ahead. I'll post a link for a guide I made for strategies to beat raid bosses with low investments. I'll try my best to keep them updated, so if you need help, make sure to check it out. And for the second type, exclusive gear. Now this is the gear you absolutely don't want to sleep on. These pieces usually have the highest base stats and gear levels and really insane abilities compared to other equipment, but they come with a small catch. For example, the dual blade obtained by beating the tower floor 50, or this book from floor 51, Barazada, I don't know how to pronounce it, which is an insane sword to get for Anissa. It's a reward for clearing floor 10, so try to get it if you can. But here's the thing, since they lack special stats, they will eventually get overshadowed when we unlock farmable gear of that same level. So the best strategy is to use them early on to push through the story and hard content before we get better gear. So how to farm gear efficiently? As I mentioned before, you can get gear by playing the game, from story drops, exploration treasures, towers, and so on. But the most reliable farming method is Stonehenge. You can get access to a stage of your choice based on your level, and you get 10 minutes for farming sessions daily. Lets you fight multiple waves of mobs with a small chance of legendary gear drops. You can also extend your farming duration using a compass, which you can buy from the shop, and you can also fight as much as you want the stage boss by using a summon tickets for a higher legendary drop rates. So if you're serious about gearing up, Stonehenge is your go-to spot for consistent upgrades. My only recommendation, if you are a new player, do not waste your tickets early on. Save your tickets until at least stage 7. This is where you get this shield, which is really great for tanks and frontline units. When you get 2 good pieces, hold off on spending your summon tickets until stage 9. Most earliest stages equipment's not worth the investments, to be honest. Just do your daily 10 minutes farming sessions, or extend it if you need to level your relic and chaos cube and just summon the boss for your dailies. Now that you know how to get your gear, let's talk about what stats you should be looking for depending on your character's role. Right now, in the current state of the game, crit rate is difficult to stack. You can only get it from your main stats, certain cards, and character buffs, making it really tough to hit the ideal 70% crit rate. And before the last patch, many in-game bosses had 100% crit resistance, making crit stats completely useless in certain scenarios. Thankfully, the devs removed this mechanic, and hopefully it it stays gone. Because of this, attack percentage is the most valuable stat for both DPS characters and healers, since their heals scales of attacks too. However, flat attack is a trap. Even a max gold roll barely outperforms or add any value compared to a low purple attack percentage roll. Unlike crit rate, crit damage is much easier to obtain from your main stats, substats, traits, and buffs. Even with a garbage build, you can get more than 160% crit damage. However, crit damage is only valuable if you have enough crit rate to land a consistent crits. So for the priority order for DPS characters will be crit rate in your main stat and from stacking buffs in cards, followed by attack percentage, most universal stat and always useful, crit damage, and then flat attack. After that, ignore damage reduction. This stat is useful for bypassing enemies' defense, especially enemies with high damage reduction values, but it's not impactful as raw attack percentage or crit stat. So consider it as a bonus. It's not a primary stat, it's only if you're fighting bosses with damage reduction or those gates in Avalon, since they have huge damage reduction. And since we're still low leveled with low tier gear and we won't be hitting crit and attack diminishing return zones anytime soon for damage reduction ignore to be valuable, so it's not worth prioritizing yet. And finally, priority. This is a wasted substat, it only affect PvP, and since PvP doesn't matter right now because you don't lose any points for losing matches, it's completely useless. This is what you should be looking for in a weapon for your characters. The only exception is healers. Just stack as much flat in attack percentage as you can because crit is a dead stat for them unless you're trying to make them do damage for some reason. Picking the right armor is straightforward since there aren't many substats to consider. Defense percentage is your top priority, flat defense and HP are good to have too, and blocking chance can also be useful but only under specific conditions. Blocking chance give you a chance to block an enemy's attack, effectively doubling your defense for that attack. However, it doesn't work against critical hits, making it unreliable. To make blocking chance worthwhile, you need at least 300% total defense from gear and buffs, which is almost impossible right now, or somewhere in between 210 and 240% defense if your characters are awakened, since awakening guarantees an extra 80% defense. At lower defense level, this set is useless because the chance to block is too low, and if you focus on blocking chance, you'll have a lower overall defense, meaning even a normal attack will kill you before blocking a regular mob skill kicks in. Even if you block it, you won't survive long enough to benefit from it, unless your defense is already stacked. On the other hand, going above 300% defense has diminishing returns, making further investment inefficient. In this case, blocking chance would be the better to get from here on. Same apply for crit resistance. Crit resistance reduces an enemy's crit rate against you by that amount, but its effectiveness is questionable. It's unclear if crit resistance stacks across your whole team or only applies to the characters being attacked. I'm pretty sure it only counts the character's crit resistance receiving the damage. In this case, it's the same as block chance. Without enough defense, even a non-crit attack will wipe your entire team. Making crit res is almost useless. For treasures, it's easy, just pick the skill depending on the character's role, and for the substats, HP percentage, followed by crit damage for your carries, and the rest it doesn't matter, everything is just flat stats anyway. Runes are a bit hard to get, so you should prioritize them carefully. Main stats are the most important factor, so always focus on equipping the best possible ones first. Substats, just assign them based on needs, so basically distribute them based on what the character needs the most. So for example, if a rune has crit damage percentage and attack rolls, it should go to your main damage dealer. If it has HP, defense, or even flat attack with crit damage, it's best suited for your tank or frontline units. Alright, let's talk about specialties now. If you played other games with traits or talents, you can think of specialties as something similar. They let you add 3 random stat rolls, each with a random value. These rolls have different tiers indicated by their colors, white the lowest, blue, purple, with gold being the best possible roll. Each roll costs 1 mystic stone plus 50k gold, but locking a stat increases the cost. So if you lock 1 stat, the next roll costs 4 mystic stones plus 100k gold, and if you lock 2 stats, the next roll costs 16 stones plus 500,000 gold, which is insane. That's why you have to be smart about rerolling. One important thing to remember is that when you're done rolling, you can transfer the 3 stats all together to another character, but it costs gems. That means if you get solid rolls but it doesn't fit the character you were rolling for, you can always move it to someone who actually can use it. So what stat you should aim for? This is heavily dependent on the character. I'll be making guides on upcoming characters and what specialties they need the most. However, for now, here's a general approach to help you determine what to prioritize in your builds. For tanks, your best bet is defense percentage first, but if they get enough defense from their passives and they don't survive well or they die before launching their ults, you can go for HP percentage instead, or just use both. The third row isn't as important since after locking 2 stats it gets really expensive, but if you can afford it, anything useful will do. Maybe some attack percentage if you want a hybrid tank build, or more defense or HP rolls. For DPS characters, it depends on the character and their position. And as always, flat stats are mostly trash, with the only exception being boss attack, which is also situational. It can only be good against bosses and useless for the rest of the content. So you should go for crit damage and attack percentage instead, and for frontline damage dealers who need the mix of damage and survivability, you will want a balance of defense and HP percentage along with them. For healers, it's simple, just stack as much attack percentage you can get since they're healing skills of it. Ideally you want 3 attack percentage rolls, but if you get 2 and the last one is something random, it's not the end of the world. Now let's talk about rerolling efficiently, because wasting resources here can set you back really hard. The cheapest roll only costs 1 mystic stone and 50k gold, so at first you should aim for a gold or at least a high purple roll around 27% or more. If you're unsure what to go for, attack percentage is always a solid choice since it works for both DPS and healers. In this case I landed on 29% crit damage. It's amazing for my Lua. This is an instant lock because it's only a 1% away from a max gold roll, so if I were rolling on a healer or a tank instead of Lua, I'd still lock it and transfer it later. Now you roll again for the second stat. I got attack here, so it's okay. At this point you have 2 strong stats, so you could lock them both, but if you do, rolling for the last one is gonna cost you 16 stone and 500k gold. So if you're low on resources, just do a couple rolls and take whatever blue stat you get and move on. I got greedy here because I didn't like the percentages, but at the end I got a high crit damage roll, so it's a win. For magic attack is a dead stat for Lua, so if I had more resources I would reroll for at least a third blue usable stats for her, no matter if it's attack, HP or defense. At the end of the day, it's all about prioritizing key stats, rerolling smartly and knowing when to stop. Don't go all in chasing the perfect rolls unless you have ton of resources saved up. Anything above 27% will do. And like I said, if you roll something good but not for the character you intended, don't worry, you can always transfer it later. That's pretty much the basics of optimizing specialties and gear. In the future I'll be making specific guides for upcoming characters, breaking down the best stats to aim for, but for now just use these as guidelines to help you build your characters and push through hard content. Hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please leave a like and a subscribe will be more appreciated. Good luck rolling and getting good gear, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.